Hello and welcome to National Focus. I am Shakira Pear. In the headlines, Dominica currently has 2 active cases of COVID-19. Ministry of Education announces major improvements being undertaken in schools across the island. And Minister for the Digital Economy, Honorable Kasani Laville, pledges government support to work online Dominica. Details of the headline stories and more when we return. Welcome back. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit has informed the nation that Dominica now has 2 active cases, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 20. Prime Minister Skerrit says government and the Ministry of Health is prepared to deal with the situation head-on.
We now have 2 active cases of COVID-19 in Dominica. Obviously, this will place an additional pressure on the health system, but we are prepared. We never stop reviewing our plans and ensuring our plans were in place in the event that we were to have a case. And remember, we always said that once we reopen our borders, as has been the case in every other country, you will see 1 or 2 cases coming in. Unfortunately, we have seen 1 and we have seen a second one as a result of this first index case that we are able to pick up.
The Prime Minister says this is not a time for panic, but individuals should continue to adhere to the protocols by the Ministry of Health.
This is not a time for us to be in any panic mode. I know there are people now saying, well, we shouldn't open the borders, we shall keep the borders closed and so on. Well, some people were saying, well, why not open the borders and so on? But let us not engage ourselves in that kind of discussion. The fact is the borders were open. The fact is we always told ourselves that there's always the risk of we having some cases coming into this country. This is why we've always continued to say to all of us in Dominica that we need to follow the guidelines given to us by the Ministry of Health. Clearly, some of us have been going about a state of abandonment and not giving any regard to the guidelines. We have to take personal responsibility for safety. We have to take responsibility also for each other's safety so that we can minimize the risk.
Minister responsible for the digital economy, Honorable Kasani Laville, has pledged government support to Work Online Dominica. Work Online Dominica is a pilot initiative by the government of Dominica through the Ministry of Public Works and the Digital Economy in collaboration with IsraAid and UNDP. The goal of this initiative is to teach 60 young professionals ages 18 to 40 over the course of 12 weeks how to get started working online, find new sources of income, and increase financial stability. Considering the present COVID-19 economic climate, the Work Online Dominica pilot project was created to guide and train participants on the roadmap for accessing an alternative pathway of generating income online by leveraging and building their skills. This is a part of a larger plan to assist Dominicans with taking advantage of the global job market and to contribute to Dominica's digital economy agenda. Honorable Kasani Laville says Work Online Dominica will help build a platform to expand Dominica's digital economy.
What we are witnessing is the launch of Work Online Dominica. This is a very exciting opportunity to train 60 young professionals over the next 12 weeks. For the past few months, we have been working quite aggressively to pursue and lay out the foundation to transform the digital economy here in Dominica. 8 months ago, digital economy was virtually an unknown term for all of us, but today we are happy to be part of this buzz. So I am pleased to be part of this excitement. History has recorded many social, industrial, and economic revolutions. However, due to our size, our population, location, and geopolitics, we have hardly played a major role in these. However, in this day and age, the technology revolution, I call it, we are saying as a government, as a country, as a people, we are going to be protagonists in this story. We will lead the way in the region. And we are committed to doing this. We are committed to doing whatever it takes to ensure that our country is secured and prepared to receive the developmental benefits associated with this technology revolution.
Minister Laville says this training will help create awareness of the numerous business opportunities available online.
This is what this training opportunity is about. It ensures that we equip our youth, our people, with the skills required for this gig economy. We want to therefore create awareness of the numerous opportunities online, not only the socialization, the browsing and research, but we'll continue to train our people to become producers. We'll show the business opportunities that are available. And not only that, we'll teach you how to access the opportunities, platforms, the markets for yourself to become more desirable. Basically, we're going to help you to become entrepreneurs in this digital space.
The Digital Economy Minister recommitted government support to Work Online Dominica, saying he's excited to see the interest shown by young citizens so far.
I'm pleased with the level of interest in Work Online Dominica. This shows that you want to work, you are willing to learn, you are willing to grow and to explore new areas of opportunities. And as a government, we are therefore happy for that. And we will wholeheartedly support young people and we will wholeheartedly support these initiatives. So I want to express my sincere support to this program. It falls right in line with our plans and strategy, thrust to transform the digital economy. We have stated clearly that digital transformation is important to our survival and economic security. So with that being said, in 2019, we put our actions and plans into effect by creating a ministry called the Digital Economy. I've said before that this is the first time in our history that we have a ministry with that portfolio and mandate.
As the government of Dominica has reopened its borders to nationals and non-nationals during the COVID-19 pandemic, protocols have been put in place to ensure the safety of all Dominicans. Coordinator for the Reopening of Borders program, Dr. Laura Esprit, says protocols for travelers into Dominica will vary based on their country of origin. Dr. Esprit, who was addressing a press conference on Thursday, August 20, explained that the protocols differentiate due to travelers' country of origin risk classification.
As mentioned previously, a risk classification system has been sort of modified based on the WHO, PAHO, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, that's CDC, as well as the Caribbean Public Health Agency, or CAFA models. Several parameters were therefore taken into consideration, all in an effort to classify countries and territories into 4 groupings, for which the protocols will vary. The country risk classification is expected to be reviewed on a weekly basis, but the standard grouping is as follows. 1, a CARICOM travel bubble. 2, low-risk countries. 3, medium-risk countries. And 4, high-risk countries. So this is as per country risk classification.
Dr. Esprit gave the protocols for persons traveling from within the CARICOM travel bubble.
Please note that not all CARICOM countries are enlisted within the CARICOM travel bubble for Dominica. Hence, please be guided by the published list of countries for the Commonwealth of Dominica. The pre-arrival process mandates that the traveler only completes an online health questionnaire at least 24 hours prior to arrival in Dominica. And the website, you should know by now, it's domcovid19.dominica.gov.dm. Upon disembarkation, the traveler is expected to do the following. 1, sanitize their hands at the sanitization stations provided. 2, undergo a health assessment to include a temperature check. 3, undertake a rapid diagnostic test and await results, and this may take up to 20 minutes. 4, providing that your rapid test is negative, your result is negative, the online health risk assessment is acceptable, and the traveler has a normal temperature upon arrival, then the traveler is expected to advance to Immigration and Customs for processing. Upon clearance from the port, travelers from the CARICOM travel bubble will be subjected to what we call scheduled and unscheduled checks by the medical team.
She also highlighted the protocols required for low-risk countries.
Unlike the CARICOM travel bubble, the pre-arrival process mandates that, in addition to completing the online health questionnaire prior to getting to Dominica, a negative PCR test result recorded within 24 to 72 hours prior to arrival in Dominica must be uploaded onto the online platform. As a result of this action, a notification of health clearance to travel will be issued, for which travelers are expected to present this notification to airlines prior to boarding and upon disembarkation into Dominica. Again, upon disembarkation, the traveler is expected to carry out the following. The same sanitization process applies, undergoing a health assessment to include a temperature check, but very importantly, provide confirmation of the health questionnaire and submit a hard copy of the negative PCR test result. In addition, the traveler is expected to undertake a rapid diagnostic test and await results up to 20 minutes. Providing that this rapid test result is negative, the online health risk assessment, which you would have done before, was acceptable, and your temperature upon arrival is normal, then the traveler is expected to advance to immigration and customs for processing. Upon clearance from the port, travelers from low-risk countries will be monitored for 7 days, and of course will be subjected to scheduled and unscheduled checks by our medical teams.
Travelers from medium-risk countries will also have to undergo various protocols upon entering the country.
The same requirements for the pre-arrival process for low and medium countries would apply, in that 2 critical components are needed. First one would be your completion of the online health questionnaire, and 2, uploading a negative PCR test result recorded within 24 to 72 hours prior to arrival. Of course, your notification of the health clearance will be presented to the airlines, as well as the submission of a hard copy of the negative PCR test result upon arriving into Dominica. All disembarkation protocols will apply, including submission and revision of your hard copy of your PCR test result, and this is a means to ensure that it meets the necessary standards. Moreover, providing that the PCR and the rapid test are both negative, that your online health risk assessment is acceptable, that the traveler has a normal temperature upon arrival and is not ill-looking, then the traveler will proceed to the Immigration and Customs Department for processing. Upon clearance from the port, travelers from medium-risk countries will be monitored, this time for 14 days, where at their place of residence, and they will be subjected to scheduled and unscheduled checks by the medical teams. The difference, though, is that as an option to the 14-day monitoring, a traveler can decide to have a PCR test done on day 5, whilst being monitored at their place of residence. If the result is negative, there will be no further monitoring at their place of residence.
If the test is negative, there will be no further monitoring of their place of residence. Dr. Esprit says travelers from countries deemed high risk will have to undergo the most protocols.
The same requirements for the pre-arrival process for low, medium, and high countries would apply, in that 2 critical components are needed. Again, just to emphasize, it would be completion of the online health questionnaire, and 2, uploading a negative PCR test result recording within 24 to 72 hours prior to arrival. Again, your notification of the health clearance will be presented to the airlines, as well as the submission of a hard copy of the negative PCR test result upon arrival into Dominica. Upon arrival from the high-risk countries, disembarkation guidelines will apply and will include revision of the hard copy of your PCR test result whilst being subjected to a rapid test. Now, if your rapid test is positive, a PCR test will be administered immediately by means of swabbing, and the traveler will await results in a government-approved facility at the traveler's expense. If the test is negative, the traveler will be transported to a mandatory quarantine at the government-operated quarantine facility or the government-certified private property for 5 to 7 days.
Dr. Esprit explained that the 5 to 7 days period allows the traveler to undergo a PCR test on day 5 and await results for an additional 48 hours. If the PCR test is positive, hospital admission is mandated. If the test is negative, when the traveler will be deemed medically cleared and will be subjected to scheduled and unscheduled checks by the health team. Dr. Esprit also spoke on the protocols that children will be expected to follow. She says that while children under the age of 5 will not be tested, exceptions will be made in some cases.
As it relates to testing of children, for the most part, it is recommended that children under the age of 5 years will not be subject to testing. However, 2 exceptions exist. 1, the children of families with positive cases of COVID-19, and of course 2, if they are unaccompanied. So these 2 groupings will be tested.
The fee structure was also detailed in relation with quarantine and testing. Penalties were highlighted for any person who does not comply with the quarantine regulations.
The cost of the PCR test is $100 EC or 40 US dollars. The fees for quarantine, which applies to the very first night, and that's for accommodation and sanitization, that would cost 400 EC or 150 US dollars per person. Again, this is for the first night. Any additional night, that would cost 225 EC dollars or 90 US dollars, and that's just for accommodation. But the rates for meals will be as follows: 15 EC dollars or 6 US dollars for breakfast, 20 EC dollars or 8 US dollars for lunch, and 20 EC dollars or 8 US dollars for dinner. As it relates to penalties, the following penalties have been approved. The penalty for non-adherence to mandatory quarantine in the Commonwealth of Dominica is 5,000 EC dollars or 6 months imprisonment. And the penalty for providing false information on your health questionnaire would be 1,000 EC dollars or 3 months imprisonment.
You're watching National Focus. More when we return. Welcome back. The Ministry of Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiative continues to upgrade tourism attraction sites across the island and promote growth within the sector. Minister for Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiatives, Honorable Dennis Charles, says over $2 million will be invested for site development.
The investment of over $2 million towards site development will be utilized for meaningful developments at the tourism attraction spots. Our first priority is making the sites COVID-19 safe.
Minister Charles says in keeping with the Ministry of Health hygiene protocols, all sites will be COVID-19 safe.
The ministry has already conducted an assessment to inform safety measures to be implemented at the start of the financial year. Installation of touchless units for sanitization and hand washing, preparation of sick bays at main sites to accommodate or isolate suspected cases, additional staff to facilitate adherence to protocols, and signage.
The improvement of the trails leading to the national sites are also included in the developmental plans.
The second phase, shortly after, is remedial works at the sites to ensure a memorable experience without worrying about safety and comfort. This will include improvements to trails, repairs, enhanced landscaping, and to cater to the modern traveler. Consultations will be held with site concessionaires towards improving the experience for unique food and drink options. Large investments will go towards building resilience and sustainability and enhancing our God-given gifts.
Minister Charles says standards were developed by Discover Dominica Authority, DDA, to ensure business places adhere to COVID-19 protocols.
In terms of COVID preparedness in the wider industry, standards have been developed by Discover Dominica Authority and the Environmental Health Department for transportation, accommodation, high-volume sites and attractions, spas, water sports, dining, and other services. We have encouraged the private sector to ensure that their staff and clients are safe by submitting COVID-19 action plans and adhering to them. And this has been the basis for our standardized COVID certification program. So in order for any hotel or guest house to open up, they need to get certified by the Ministry of Health.
Concessions were also made in the 2020-2021 national budget for taxi and tour operators.
I am particularly excited about the concession in the budget for tour operators and to further so they can upgrade their vehicles. For example, Mr. Speaker, if you were to purchase a coaster for $145,000, originally you would pay duties amounting to and taxes amounting to $94,113. Now, under this new measure, those duties and taxes amount to $28,187, a savings of over $65,000.
Minister Charles encouraged financial institutions to prepare affordable loan packages for these operators.
So I am urging tour operators to take advantage of this opportunity. So I'm asking the banks, the financial institutions, make packages, make money available for people to take full advantage of the measures offered in this budget.
The Ministry of Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training and National Excellence is well on the way to ensuring that all schools are adequately prepared for students' return in September. Minister for Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training and National Excellence, Honorable Octavia Alfred, says all 73 schools on island now have internet access.
The Ministry of Education has ensured that all our 73 schools on island have internet. And before school closed, 32 schools had internet in all classrooms. Our IT officers and technicians have been working to extend the Wi-Fi to all schools to increase access in classrooms.
The minister says electronic devices have also been distributed to all schools.
We have sent devices to all schools, and more devices will be provided in the new school year. Devices will be distributed for use by secondary school students and teachers. We are setting up a smart center at 2 secondary schools, and work is already in progress. And we are completing our programs for training in the use of technology for teachers and especially parents.
Despite the challenges faced during the COVID-19 pandemic, the Education Minister says none of the ministry's programs were affected.
Despite the COVID-19 challenges, all our support programs continue to be in place. Uniforms, textbooks, transfer fees, school feeding program, transportation, all of those programs are in place. And now we are even looking at new programs, new systems to address new challenges that we'll talk about later. But I think we have done all we can. All our parents have to do is to just trust the process and get their children ready for school.
Minister Alfred encouraged parents and members of the public to adhere to the protocols which will be put in place.
I would like to say thank you to all the officers at the ministry, parents. I mean, we had a good thing going. We had a good impact. We worked well. We worked hard. It was good. Let us continue. And when our handbook for the protocols and guidelines for reopening of school will be made access to the public, let us ensure that everybody obey and follow our protocols in that handbook.
Assistant Chief Education Officer Dr. Jeffrey Bless commended the government of Dominica for its exceptional approach in dealing with and managing the COVID-19 pandemic.
I think we have done very well as a country in terms of management of COVID. And I must single that out because thanks to the management of COVID and the country's response, that we are able to see that we are opening schools. So I really want to thank the government of Dominica for the management of the COVID pandemic, because there are many developed countries that are still struggling immensely with management of COVID and how do you exercise participation in education amidst the COVID pandemic. So that is excellent. We have a tick in that regard.
Government continues to meet with furniture manufacturers. Furniture manufacturers of Portsmouth and environs had the opportunity to be educated on the initiative put together by government and Montreal Management Consultant Establishment, MMCE. Member of Parliament for the Portsmouth constituency and Minister for Entrepreneurship, Innovation, Business and Export Development, Honorable Ian Douglas, told the furniture manufacturers that this is the perfect opportunity to partner with government to increase their income.
There is tremendous opportunity in your sector for you to partner with the government right now, and that is what we are seeking to do, to form a partnership. And in seeking to form that partnership, we have a willing partner in MMC. MMC has come on board in recent years. I believe just after Tropical Storm Erica, when Petit Savan was absolutely devastated, that's when MMC came on the scene and helped us to recreate the community of Petit Savan. And they have stayed on with us, and we have seen the brilliant work that they have done all over the country, in Georgetown, in Cotton Hill, in Grand Forks, in La Plaine, in Cassie Bruce, all over the country. We've been building homes for persons, and you know that homes cannot be built without kitchens, and kitchens cannot function without cupboards.
Minister Douglas implored the furniture manufacturers to not only see Dominica as their target, but the region as a wider market to sell their goods.
You have an opportunity not only to manufacture furniture to meet the local demand, but you have a market, you have an export market in places like St. Kitts and Antigua, St. Lucia, and Grenada. And you must think about your trade and your activity, not so much in a narrow confines of being only able to satisfy the Dominican market, but being able to satisfy the OECS market, because CARICOM protects you to make you able to compete in those markets.
The trade minister urged the manufacturers to unite, as government will be better able to assist them as a unit.
If the building and contractors and also the furniture manufacturers are serious, government can set up a central processing facility where we get the industrialized machines and we put them in one place. So you have local wood. I mean, after Hurricane Maria, there's millions and millions of dollars of local wood sitting in the forest right now. Red cedar, gourmet, balata, I mean, you name it, mahogany, you name it. Blue maho is a lovely wood just sitting in the forest. But because we are not organized and we are not united, we cannot take advantage of it. So one furniture manufacturer will know where a tree is. I say, but I don't want the other, so somebody might go and take it. Instead of all of us getting together, hiring one transport, hiring a manufacturing chainsaw, and he cut it, and we say, if it's 10 boards, we can get from it, or if it's 40 boards, you will get 30, I'll get 30.
Project Manager of Montreal Management Consultants Establishments, Christopher Timmins, explained to the furniture manufacturers what his company is expecting from their final products.
We're looking for designs that can be easily replicated. If I go to 10 manufacturers, I can be confident I'm going to get 10 products from those manufacturers, all going to be identical and interchangeable. We want kitchens that, after we've completed the units, if the homeowner wants to expand their kitchen, they can come back to the people who manufacture those kitchens and say, I live in Cotton Hill, I live in Georgetown, I need another 4 units the same, I want to do a central island. And you'll know what they want. You can expand it and you can provide that service. We want kitchens where if doors get damaged, they can be easily manufactured, easily replaced without looking like they're a replacement. In terms of quality, what are we looking for? The carcasses must be water-resistant materials. So whether that's marine ply, whether it's resin-impregnated MDF, we might even consider some of this modern PVC board. We're open to suggestions of that, but it must be water-resistant.
Government in the 2020-2021 budget made provisions for manufacturers. Government will remove VAT and import duties on packaging and labeling materials, as well as on the equipment and machinery used in the production of goods, with effect from September 1, 2020. And now your weather update. A trough system is expected to result in an increase in low-level clouds and scattered showers, with a slight chance of isolated thunderstorms across the Lesser Antilles. A high-pressure system is projected to rebuild overnight. On Wednesday, a tropical wave is expected to produce a few showers across the area, with a shear line generating some scattered showers thereafter on Thursday. Moderate seas are expected during the next 24 hours, with waves peaking to 5 feet. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook as well as on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here in the GIS News Production team, I'm Shakira Pear. Thanks for watching.